My name is Lily Hart. I live in a small town in Oregon. The town is quiet and safe. Most people know each other. I work at the public library. My life is simple. Many people say, a simple life is a happy life. I want to agree. I try to agree. Some days I do. Some days I do not. I have been married to Evan for 12 years. When we first met, we were young and full of plans. We loved long drives on the coast. We stayed up late and talked about everything. Now, our home feels more like a waiting room. We move around each other with small smiles and short words. We are polite. We are steady. We are also tired. Maybe this is normal. Maybe it is not. I do not know. Most mornings start in the same way. I make coffee. Evan checks his phone. We ask each other simple questions. How did you sleep? Will you come home early today? Do you need anything from the store? Then, he leaves for work. I watch his car go. I stand at the window for a moment. I feel a small pull in my chest. It feels like something is missing. I cannot name it. That week, something new came into my life. It began with a message from an old friend. Her name is Mia, and she loves planning events. She wrote that our high school class would have a reunion. She said it would be fun. She said we should all see each other again. I stared at the message for a long time. At first, I wanted to say no. I did not feel ready to see people from the past. I did not feel ready to look at the younger version of myself through their eyes. Still, I typed that I would go. I did not know why I said yes. Maybe I wanted something to change. Even a small thing. The days before the reunion felt strange. I looked at my old photos. I tried on clothes I had not worn in years. Evan noticed. He asked if I had plans. I told him about the reunion. He nodded. He said it sounded nice. His voice was soft but distant. I waited for another question. No question came. For some reason, this made me feel even more alone. On the day of the reunion, I drove to a small community hall near the river. The parking lot was full. Warm light came through the windows. I heard music. I felt my heart pick up its pace. I took a deep breath and walked inside. People smiled at me. Some hugged me. Some said they were happy to see me. I answered them with polite smiles. I tried to relax. I tried to enjoy the moment. Then something happened. I turned toward the doorway. A man walked in. I knew his face before my mind caught up. His name was Aaron Blake. My first love. My first everything. We had not spoken since we were teenagers. He looked older, but in a kind way. He had calm eyes. He had a quiet smile. My stomach tightened. I told myself it was only surprise. I told myself it was nothing more. Still, I could not look away. He saw me and gave me a small wave. It was a simple gesture, but it hit me with a soft shock. I felt my face warm. I felt young and unsure again. I did not like the feeling. I also did not hate it. We did not speak that night. Not yet. He greeted a few classmates. I stayed on the other side of the room. I left early. I said goodbye to Mia and walked to my car. When I sat inside, I closed my eyes. My hands were shaking in a light way, like I had touched something from another time. On the drive home, the road was dark and quiet. My thoughts were not quiet. I kept thinking about Aaron. I kept asking myself, why this old feeling woke up so easily. When I reached home, Evan was asleep, on the couch. The television was still on. I turned it off. I covered him with a blanket. I watched him for a moment. He looked tired and gentle. He looked like someone I should feel close to. I whispered to myself that everything was fine. It was only a reunion. It was only an old friend. It meant nothing. I wanted to believe this. I closed my eyes and tried to breathe slowly. The truth was quiet but clear inside me. Something had changed. The morning after the reunion felt heavy and bright at the same time. I woke up early. I sat at the kitchen table with a cup of coffee. My hands were around the warm mug. I waited for my mind to clear. It did not clear. I kept seeing Aaron's face. I kept feeling that strange pull in my chest. Evan came into the kitchen. He looked sleepy. He smiled at me in a slow way. I smiled back. We said our usual morning words. He asked how the reunion was. I said it was fine. I did not mention Aaron. My voice sounded normal. My heart did not feel normal. At work, I tried to focus. I shelved books. I helped a visitor find an easy novel. I answered small questions. My body moved in its usual rhythm. My mind did not. I felt jumpy. I felt uncomfortable. I told myself it was only nerves. I told myself it would fade. Then, at lunch, I stepped outside behind the library to get some fresh air. I looked toward the street. My breath caught in my throat. Aaron was standing by the corner. He was alone. He looked in my direction, then looked away, as if he did not expect me to see him. The sight of him made my heart jump. I froze for a moment. When I blinked again, he was walking down the sidewalk. I could not tell if he had waited for me, or if it was only chance. I went back inside. My hands felt cold. I told myself it was fine. It was a public street. People walk by all the time. Still, my body did not believe my thoughts. Later that week, I went to a small cafe after work. I wanted hot tea and quiet. I wanted a place to sit and think. I ordered my drink and sat by the window. I opened my notebook and tried to write a list of simple things I wanted to do that month. More walking. New recipes. Maybe a short trip. I tried to calm myself. A chair moved behind me. I turned my head. I saw Aaron again. He was standing with a drink in his hand. He said hi in a soft voice. I said hi back. My voice sounded small. He said it was nice to see me. He said he came to the cafe often. He said he hoped I was doing well. I nodded and said I was fine. I said I was just writing. I kept my eyes on my notebook. My heartbeat was too fast. He stayed near me for a moment, then sat at another table. I tried to drink my tea. I could not taste it. I left the cafe early. When I stepped outside, I looked behind me. I saw Aaron standing near the door. He was not leaving. He just watched the street. I walked to my car as calmly as I could. I sat inside and locked the doors. I felt silly for doing this. I also felt safer. That night, I tried to talk to Evan. I told him I felt strange lately. I told him my mind was full. I hoped he would ask more. I hoped he would sit with me and look into my eyes and try to understand. He was tired. He listened, but he did not hear the fear under my words. He said work was stressful. He said he wanted to sleep early. He kissed my cheek and went upstairs. I sat alone in the living room. I told myself to breathe. I told myself not to worry too much. I told myself that Aaron was only being friendly. I told myself that things were not as strange as they felt. But as I reached for the light switch, I saw a shadow move outside the window. I stepped closer. It was probably nothing. It was probably a branch. The night was dark and calm. Still, the feeling in my stomach did not go away. It pressed down on me in a slow and steady way. A quiet voice in my mind said that something was wrong. I tried not to listen. I went to bed and stared at the ceiling for a long time. The house felt too quiet. The air felt too tight. I wanted sleep. sleep did not come. Something had begun. I did not know what it was. But it was moving toward me. It was coming fast. The next morning felt strange from the moment I opened my eyes. The sun was bright, but my chest felt heavy. Tom had already left for work. He left a short note on the table, saying he had another long day. I read the note and felt a small pull inside me. Our home felt calm, but the calm was empty, not peaceful. At work, I tried to focus, but my thoughts kept moving away from my desk. They went back to the reunion again. They went back to Aaron. I told myself to stop thinking about him. I told myself it was only one meeting. Still, every time I tried to push the memories away, they came back even stronger. His smile. His voice. The way he looked at me, like no time had passed. After lunch, my phone buzzed. I checked it without thinking. It was a message from an unknown number. It was Aaron. He wrote that he was happy to see me again. He wrote that he wanted to talk more. My heart beat fast. I locked my phone and put it in my drawer. My hands felt warm and shaky. I tried to tell myself not to answer him. But 1 hour later I looked at the message again. I did not answer. I only looked at it. I felt a strange mix of fear and excitement. It was wrong, but it felt good to be seen by someone again. When work ended, I walked to my car. The sky was already turning dark. I felt a small tension in my body. I looked over my shoulder a few times. The parking lot felt too quiet. I moved faster and got into my car. I told myself it was nothing. I told myself I was tired. Still, my mind did not calm down. When I reached home, I tried to relax. I made simple pasta for dinner. I sat alone at the table and looked at the empty chair across from me. I tried to think about good memories with Tom. But my mind kept jumping to the reunion. To the past. To things I should not think about. After dinner, I checked my phone again. There was another message. This time, Aaron wrote that he was close to my neighborhood. He wrote that he wanted to see me soon. My stomach turned. I did not understand why he was near my home. I never told him where I lived. A part of me liked that he was thinking of me. Another part was scared. I did not answer him. I put my phone away and walked to the window. I looked outside. The street was dark, but quiet. There were no cars. No people. I felt a small chill. I closed the curtains and told myself to stop thinking so much. Later I took a shower, hoping warm water would calm me. It helped for a short moment. But when I stepped out, my phone buzzed again. My hands shook as I picked it up. Aaron sent another message. He wrote that he missed me. He wrote that he wanted to talk to me soon. He wrote that I meant a lot to him in the past, and maybe even now. My breath felt tight. Everything was moving too fast. It was only one reunion night. It should not feel like this. I put the phone face down on my table, and tried not to look at it again. I turned on the TV, to distract myself. The voices filled the room, but I did not follow the show. My mind stayed on the messages. Before bed, I checked the doors twice. I never did that before. I tried to sleep, but my eyes kept opening every few minutes. I felt nervous, and I could not explain why. Maybe it was because Tom and I were drifting apart. Maybe it was the reunion. Maybe it was my own choices. Or maybe it was because Aaron was coming back into my life too fast. Just before I fell asleep, my phone buzzed again. I did not check it. I could not. I only turned to the other side and closed my eyes tight. I felt that something was starting. And I felt that I was losing control of it. The next morning, I woke up with a heavy feeling in my chest. I picked up my phone and saw several messages from Aaron. He sent them late at night. He wrote that he could not stop thinking about me. He wrote that seeing me again changed something in him. He wrote that he wanted to meet soon. I felt uneasy as I read them. I did not feel guilty. I did not think I had done anything wrong. I only saw an old friend. I only talked to him for a few minutes. Still, the messages felt too much. They felt like a line I did not want to cross. I put the phone in my bag and got ready for work. When I walked outside, I stopped. There was a white flower on the hood of my car. It was small and fresh. I looked around the parking area. No one was there. The air felt still. I picked up the flower and felt a strange fear. It was not romantic. It felt wrong. I dropped the flower and got into my car fast. At work, I tried to stay busy. I answered emails and talked with coworkers. Still, my eyes kept going back to my phone. I told myself not to look. I told myself to act normal. At lunch, I finally checked the messages again. There was a new one. Aaron wrote that the flower was from him. He wrote that he hoped it made me smile. My hands turned cold. I did not answer. When the day ended, I walked to the parking lot. I moved quickly. I felt like someone was near me. I turned my head a few times, but the lot was empty. When I reached my car, I felt watched. I got inside and locked the doors at once. My breath was short. I checked the mirrors, again and again. On the highway a blue car followed me, for many miles. I tried not to stare at it. But every time I changed lanes, the blue car changed lanes too. I felt sweat on my hands. When I finally turned into a gas station, the blue car drove past and kept going. I felt some relief, but my body stayed tense. At home, I opened the front door and looked around the house. Everything was quiet. Tom left a short note saying he would be late again. I sat at the table and laid my hands flat on the surface. I tried to calm myself. I made tea, but I did not even finish half of it. I checked my phone again. There was another message from Aaron. He wrote that he saw me driving home. He wrote that he wanted to wave, but did not want me to feel scared. My heart dropped. I never told him where I lived. I never told him about my route home. I felt real fear now. I walked through the house and checked every door and window. I closed the curtains. I checked the locks again. My hands trembled as I moved. I told myself to breathe slowly. Another message came. Aaron wrote that he stopped by my office today. He wrote that he hoped to see me, but missed me. He wrote that he would try again tomorrow. My stomach felt tight. I sat on the couch and tried to think clearly. I knew I had to tell someone. I did nothing wrong. There was nothing to hide. But I also knew Tom would ask questions. He would ask why I did not say anything earlier. He would ask why I kept the messages to myself. Still, I needed help. I needed someone to know what was happening. I thought about calling a friend, but I knew they would only tell me to talk to Tom first. And maybe they were right. The doorbell rang. The sound made my whole body tense. I froze. The bell rang again. I did not move. After a long moment, it stopped. I slowly walked to the front window and looked outside through a thin space between the curtains. No one was there. The street was empty. The air felt heavy. I went back to the couch and sat down. I held my phone in both hands. I knew what I had to do. I had to tell Tom everything. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Tonight. I needed to tell him about the messages. I needed to tell him that Aaron was showing up near my home and my office. I needed to let him know I felt unsafe. I was not ashamed. I was scared. Before bed, I checked my phone one last time. Aaron sent another message. He wrote that he hoped to see me very soon. He wrote that he was thinking of me at that moment. He wrote that he was close. I locked my phone and placed it on the nightstand. I pulled the blankets to my chest and tried to breathe slowly. I listened to every sound in the house. My mind was busy, but my decision was clear now. I would tell Tom everything. And I would tell him as soon as he walked through the door. That night, I stayed awake and waited for him. Tom came home after midnight. I heard his keys before I saw him. I stood in the hallway and held my phone. When he walked in, he looked tired. When he saw my face, he stopped and asked if I was okay. I took a deep breath and told him everything. I told him about the messages. I told him about the flower on my car. I told him about the blue car that followed me. And I told him that Aaron said he was near my house. Tom's face changed. He looked alert now. He listened without interrupting. When I finished, he placed his hands on my shoulders and said that I should have told him earlier. Then he said that he was here now, and that we would handle it together. His voice made me feel safer. We agreed that I would stay home from work the next day. Tom said he would stay home too. We locked the doors and checked all the windows. I tried to sleep, but I could not. My mind kept running. The next morning, the house felt too quiet. I made coffee, but my hands were shaking. Tom stayed close to me. We planned to call the police if Aaron sent another message. But the message never came. Instead, there was a knock at the door. A slow and heavy knock. Tom walked to the door and looked through the peephole. His face became tense. He whispered that it was Aaron. My heart jumped. My legs felt weak. Tom told me to stay back. He opened the door just a little and stepped outside. Then he closed the door behind him. I heard voices through the door. At first, they were low. Then, they grew louder. Tom told Aaron to leave me alone. I could not hear Aaron clearly, but his voice sounded angry. I heard a sudden sound. Maybe it was a push. I opened the door without thinking. Aaron was standing too close to Tom. His eyes looked wild. He did not look like the man from the reunion. He looked desperate. When he saw me, he stepped toward me and said that he just wanted to talk. Tom blocked him and told him that he was not coming near me. Aaron looked at me again and said that I smiled at him and that he knew I still felt something. I said no. My voice was stronger than I expected. Aaron's expression changed fast. It went from soft to angry, and then to something darker. He reached for my arm. Tom grabbed him and pushed him back. Aaron stumbled and tried to swing at Tom. Tom moved out of the way and held him back. I called 911 with shaking hands. They struggled near the driveway. Aaron tried to break free and come to me again. Tom held him. Sirens sounded in the distance. They came closer and closer. Aaron froze when he heard them. He tried to run, but the police car turned the corner. Officers jumped out and caught him. They pushed him to the ground and handcuffed him. He kept shouting my name. I covered my ears. After they drove him away, Tom came to me. I leaned into him. My body finally relaxed. Inside the house, we sat at the table. We did not talk for a moment. Tom held my hand. He said that I was safe now. I nodded. The police asked some questions and then left. The house felt still. Tom made tea for us. We sat on the couch together. It had been a long time since we sat quietly like that. I looked at him and thanked him for being here. He said he should have been here more, and that maybe we both stopped paying attention. His voice was gentle. His words felt honest. We sat for a long time. We did not talk. We just rested. We were tired. We were also closer than we had been in years. Outside, the sun went down. The house felt calm and safe again. I did not think about Aaron anymore. That night, when I closed my eyes, I felt Tom's hand holding mine.